All right. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome back to another PPA Road to Imaging USA Live. Today's guest is the founder of Shawn Lee Studios in Southfield, Michigan. He is also the photography instructor for Shawn Lee Studios Education. He's the CEO and president of MAP, which is an acronym for Multicultural Association of Professional Photographers. He's also the founder of the Rock That Photography Conference and Trade Show. So everyone, let's give a warm welcome to our friend, Mr. Shawn Lee. Shawn, thank you for joining us today.
Man, Rock That. Thank you for having me, Pat. I appreciate it, Jamel.
It's always a pleasure, Shawn, always a pleasure. So I've heard you say it. I've heard you shout it. I've heard other people say it and shout it. Please tell us how Rock That got started and what that all means.
Man, Rock That is my term for making life happen. And so, believe it or not, my photography, my career in photography started after my career in warehousing. So I drove a forklift truck. And so for 12 years of my life, I drove a forklift truck and I unloaded and loaded trucks, and the warehouse was a block long. And so at Christmas time, when it was Christmas time, we had to unload between 30 and 40 53-foot trailers, right? And the option was, there was no option of quitting. We could not stop. We had to unload every trailer. So some days were 12-hour, 14-hour, 16-hour days. We couldn't stop till the work was done. And so we would have multiple forklift trucks going in on trailers. The warehouse was a block long, and we would have a guy stand at the halfway point of the warehouse and yell because we would get tired. We would literally be mashing on the gas pedal, getting cramps in our legs, the whole nine. But a guy would stand in the middle of the warehouse and say, run that, run that, run that. And we were all day, 14, 16 hours until it was done. So failure was not an option, right? Wow. Run That became Rock That for me. And I'm going somewhere, I promise you. As a little boy, a 9-year-old boy who had a black and white TV. I don't know if anybody knows about the black and white TVs where you had the yes, where you had the hanger. The hanger was your antenna. You had to hold it in order to keep the signal straight. Well, rock bands would come on, and as a young black boy growing up in the hood, like, I couldn't understand why at the end of a set they would break the guitars, perfectly good brand new guitars. They would break them on the stage and jump in the mosh pit. And as a young black boy, I'd be like, what is wrong with these folk breaking perfectly good brand new guitars, right? I later understood it in adulthood to mean that they sold out to it. Right. It was, we're going to put it all, we're going to leave it all on the stage. We're going to break the guitars on the stage. We're going to jump in the mosh pit. Right. And the next set or the next concert, we just going to have to buy new guitars. And so Rock That became failure's not an option. And we're going to break everything on the stage. Right? We're going to rock that. And so that's what Rock That means to me. It means that whatever we need to do to make it happen, failure is not an option. We're going to break the guitars on the stage, but we're going to make life happen. Right? And we're not going to settle for anything less than the thing that we've set out to do. And so Rock That has become the theme of my life, or the way I've run my life, the way I've done life, and hence everything else that's attached to me.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I'm not breaking my Canon or my Fuji camera.
Yeah, no.
I'm not gonna do that. Or a flash. The guitar, I can do that.
Yeah. Rock That, right.
Can you imagine that? Like, after a session? Like, so
yeah.
Well,
only if you got it like that. You know what I mean? Long as it's in the budget to get a new one, you do all.
Yeah, we're gonna need some heavy sponsorship for that one.
Yes, but it means to leave your effort on the stage, right? Don't take anything else with you. So,
right.
Yeah, man, Rock That.
I love it. Well, Shawn, one thing I do is I know that much of your business is based on investing in the next generation of photographers. What opportunities are you providing for them, so they can continue their success in photography, or even get them started in photography?
Oh, that's a great question. Thank you for asking it. If anybody knows me, they know that I'm passionate about youth. I'm passionate about the next generation of creative professionals. The reason that I am is because I've been invested in, right? And so even in my mediocrity, people have invested in me. And so I just believe that it's our responsibility. And when I say our, I mean my generation, the generations that have come before me, to invest in the next generation that's coming up. And so, we've done that along the ways all throughout the things that we do with the Rock That Photography Conference, right? And trade show, all of the education that we do. But what's coming up, which is, I think, really, really innovative where it concerns our youth, is that we are partnering with school districts in the Atlanta area. And this is where PPA comes into play. And this is why I love my organization, is that I posed this question. How would it look for a high school student that receives their high school diploma to also receive their certified professional photographer certification, right?
Wow.
Uh, I know that as an adult, when I took the CPP test, it was hard, right? This is like no joke. I know that it is a great accomplishment for photographers to receive their CPP, or their certified professional photographer. But I thought, if we're going to invest in the next generation of creative professionals, this is also a great way to invest in the industry, right? So that by the time, because every student won't go to college, but if we can get them proficient in the right way to do photography, right? To learn the concepts, the laws, the formulas that are surrounded by photography, and actually teach them how to use that camera, teach them what lighting means, teach them ratios, their f-stops, shutter speeds, the formulas, right? The aperture plus shutter speed plus ISO equals exposure. If we can get them in high school to understand these concepts and have them ready for the pro world by the time they leave high school, then we would have bolstered our industry as well as our youth. And not only just getting them a CPP, or setting a standard where they are proficient by the time they leave the high school stage, but also making sure they understand business concepts, because being a creative and being a business person are two separate things. But in order to be in business in photography, you need to be proficient in business concepts, right? For them to be surrounded by mentors that are already doing it at a high level. You know what I mean? To be able to bring in PPA level CPP instructors, and have them teach and have touch points with our youth is amazing. To be able to get kids on a bus, to get them to Imaging USA, right, this year, and have them in the environment of professional photographers, right? To have them now at a high school level start to understand what the industry looks like, where now they have a professional organization that they are a member of, and they can start to go to conferences and start educating themselves and start surrounding themselves with the best people. This is game changing on so many levels, not only for them, but also for our industry, because now we are training up the next generation of leaders who are going to lead this industry, right? In administration, as professionals, as photographers. And if we can make them strong now, then they will be strong leaders, for the next generation of professional photographers of America, right? And that is the goal, man. And so, yeah, you got me excited, dude.
I'm
Rock that.
excited, because it's like it's such a blessing to be able to say, I'm in high school. When I was growing up, high school, the first thing I wanted was like my own car and a pair of sneakers. So I wanted a job to get my money. But if I can go back and say, you know what? This is the career path I want. I want a mentor. I want someone to teach me what I'm passionate about, because that's what I want to do for the rest of my life. If I
Mhm.
had that in high school, things could have been a little bit different path. Eventually you'll get there if you want as an
Yes.
adult. But in high school, it kind of keeps you focused, keeps you straight, keeps you out of trouble. There's so many different benefits of that, you know. So
Yes, absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. And dude, I feel all of that. Like that is huge. It's another opportunity for them to enter into professionally, right?
yes.
The right way. As opposed to figuring it out. If you're anything like me, when I came up in photography, I just went out and bought stuff. I didn't know whether it was right. I just bought. Matter of fact, dude. dude, hold up.
I
I'm a,
still do buy stuff.
I'm gonna mess you up. Like I got my first light, right, that I bought off of eBay. It's not right in front of my face, but right, like I didn't know what the heck I was doing. Nobody advised me. I didn't have a professional network. I didn't have anybody to reach out to. Nobody said to me, "No, don't do it." Right? Like nobody said that to me, because I didn't have it. And so, if we can provide those opportunities for our youth and mentor them the right way, we know that the industry will be strong. Man,
Absolutely. Yeah.
rock
I mean, you create experts early,
early,
you know. Yeah. Getting young.
early.
Yeah. So
Yes.
in order to get them started, so I'm asking you this question. They have that opportunity in high school.
Mhm,
We know there's tons of gear out there. We just discussed that.
mhm.
What do you recommend they starting out with, though? What's your path for them to start out with camera and gear? What toys are we going to put in their hands so they can get started?
Oh, that's dope. I would say this for not just for high school students, but adults too. You know, I'm a Canon man. And so, you know, I'm not gonna get into the Canon, Nikon, Sony war stuff, right? Like those Canons, once you get the right models, they are all good on their levels, right? I do believe though the Canon is more intuitive, especially for learning. So when you talk about learning, I also believe that Canon just has a little bit more oomph as far as gear and budget behind what it is that they do. So that's my recommendation as far as camera gear. I am an R5, R6 shooter, and I love my 85 Prime 1.2. Right,
Mm.
so
Wow,
uh,
that's a great glass.
yeah, to start out, I would say, you know, Canon if you can get it, and then I'm also a Godox guy, right, and so the wireless system changed the game for me. Um, and so I wouldn't tell anybody about it if I didn't use it, but the AD system, right? So the 80, 100, 200, 300, 400, 600 Pro series of lights are game changing. They are wireless. They are very efficient as far as battery power. And they have a slew of modifiers that can go with that, along with an S2 bracket that makes it in studio and on location extremely easy to use, consistent color, consistent power, and just a good all around flash for a decent price point. You just can't beat it.
Yeah, that's a great system. That's a good point because you don't want to start off expensive. You know, there's high tier
Yeah.
and there's low. But I think Godox is a good place to be as far as price and quality. They do a very good job of that.
Yeah. So if you're shooting on location and you got a budget, you got a small budget, I would recommend an AD 100 Pro. A couple of those, 8200 Pro, if you can swing it. Those are great lights, powerful. I call the 100 Pro the pop can light. Get the Rock That Red. They got them in about 6 colors. Rock That Red and black, because works for me. 8200 Pro if you're on location, if you're on a budget. If you have more money to invest, I would certainly recommend the 600. A couple of 600 Pros, a 400 actually works well. And that whole line is just beast mode. So if anybody has any specific questions, they can certainly ask in the chat. Rock that.
Awesome. Yes, definitely bring it in the chat. And yes, to our friends in the chat, thank you for joining us again. Don't be shy. You have any questions for Shawn today or PPA, please feel free to throw them in the chat. We'd be more than happy to answer them. That's Shawn. Actually, in US Imaging USA, my apologies, you have a session coming up. Your session is titled All Across the Map. Please share with our audience what that's all about, what they can expect to learn and walk away with.
So yes, all across the map. And so we've done this the last few years at Imaging USA. And typically what we do is we keep it pretty light. And we talk about the need to engage everybody. And that's similar to what we'll be doing this year. Icebreakers, things that help people to get to know each other more, and not just people that you are used to and comfortable with. We actually challenge you to reach out and to go find somebody who doesn't look like you, who doesn't come from where you come from, doesn't speak the same language maybe that you speak, and to introduce yourself and start to have conversations. And at the end of the day, we are people. right? And our common thread is photography. And we all come there to learn photography. But when I used to go to Imaging USA, there would be sections of people, there would be groups of people, and everybody who knew, each other like them, they would be in those groups, and we would be very segregated. And so our work over the last couple of years has been to integrate that, right? To bring people who are different together around the commonality of people and photography. And so once you find that we start to break through some of the barriers and just the very thin layer of ice that tends to sit on top, and it's an extremely thin layer of ice. Once you break through that, the commonalities are, once we do that, we can actually solve real problems. We can actually come together and serve each other extremely well. And so that's what we are going to facilitate. So that people understand it's going to be really lighthearted. We're going to have stuff like lemonade and tea and cookies, right? It's a very short session. So it's not a session where we're going to come together and we're going to solve world hunger, right? It's not one of those sessions. It's about an hour and a half, right? And in that hour and a half, we don't typically deal with worldwide problems or nationwide problems around race or culture or any of those things. We really do look to facilitate people feeling comfortable, coming together, and letting them know that PPA and Imaging USA is a place for them to come to learn, and that there is a space for them. And then what we can do is have further conversation about how we facilitate that, about how we start to innovate and change things and bring things to the forefront so that we create safe space for everybody.
Absolutely. And I can see that when I first went to imaging, how everyone is so united and eager to learn from each other. And then you attend the imaging one year and you go another year and you've seen your friends, then your friends are bringing someone new. Now that group is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And you have the opportunity to speak with your mentors, people that you follow on the internet and such, that, share common ideas, camera styles.
That's it.
All that. The new ones, the veterans, they all there. So that's a great place to be.
That's it. Listen, I don't care what race you are, what culture you are, where you come from, what your background is, right? Exposure is still exposure. You feel what I'm saying? Lighting is still lighting. And common problems are still common problems. And so we can find common thread. We can find it. You just have to look for it. You have to make it a point to look for it. We have to make it a point to care about people enough to know that every single person has value. Every single person matters, right? And so we respect and we honor every single person that comes through Imaging USA, comes through the PPA space, and we make sure we provide space for that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And everyone is welcome to that too. So if you want to attend the diversity and inclusion meeting, that's going to be on the 30th, January 30th, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. So please come out, join, chime in, and just experience that as part of Imaging USA.
Rock that. Absolutely. I need everybody. Look, all of y'all come through, right? Because this is more about people than it is about photography, right? You come to get to know some folk. We're going to laugh. We're going to have some fun. People are going to introduce themselves. We're going to talk about cultures and where folk come from. I'm going to wreck a few names. I'm going to tell you that right now. I'm going to ask people their names. They're going to tell me their names. I'm going to wreck them. It's not going to be on purpose, right? So you charge it to my head, not my heart. But one thing I do promise you is that I'm going to respect you enough to learn your name the correct way. Right? It might take me a minute to learn it, but I'm gonna learn it the right way. I'm gonna learn what it means and why your mama or dad named you that, and all of that. Like, that stuff matters to people. You know what I mean? And that's where we come together. Those are our commonalities. I'm gonna learn about the food you eat and why you eat it, right? And you'll be surprised when you go beyond the veil of things, you learn so much from people. Right. And it makes us well-rounded. And when you have a diverse community of people, you can get a lot more stuff done because you have so many more different perspectives than your own. And you know how everybody thinks that they right.
But you had me at cookies, so I know I'm going to be there. And lemonade.
Yeah, cookies and lemonade.
That's right. I'm definitely going to be there.
Rock that. Very cool.
I think that's one of the beautiful things about photography too, right? Because especially for photographers who do weddings, who do portraits, you want to be able to keep that base open. You want to be able to shoot people from different backgrounds. You want to be able to experience different cultures so that you can better interact with them, create a better product. So
that's actually that's really good, because actually there are different culturally, there are different types of weddings. Absolutely. And we need to be able to approach them differently. And so understanding that and being able to talk to each other about how to attack or how to approach or what equipment to buy or what's important to certain cultures of people in a wedding becomes important, right? The rules by which you approach photography or talk to people becomes important when we talk about the business of photography, or we're talking about now starting to engage in business. We don't want to be disrespectful because we just don't understand or know, right? And so the more we know about people, the better we can actually serve, right? The more correct we can actually serve people. So rock it. And I want everybody. So here's the deal. Like, I'm a black guy, right? And we tend to attract what we look like. But I want everybody. I need I need you to come through from every single. I need everybody. I need them to speak different languages. I need to be challenged, right? We need to challenge each other to learn about each other, right? I don't want to be comfortable. So when we say that, you really are welcome. You are certainly welcome, and we will spend the time to do what we need to do to get it right.
Absolutely. We're listening, and we're looking forward to that meeting. And it's a safe place, like you said. This is not like it's going to be aggressive and people hating on each other. This is a meeting of the minds, sharing of thoughts, sharing of ideas, enlightenment.
Yes.
Behind the lens. So
behind the lens.
That's right. And I think it's going to be great. Great. I can't wait to see the youth there, the high school kids.
Man, I think that's going to be dope. We are actually we're working on what that might look like now, right? And so for everybody out there, like, I am very serious about the success of our youth. And the reason that I am is because I've just been invested in, right? There is this thing called like opportunity. You know what I mean? And so when we give people opportunity to be great, more than likely they'll step up and be great. But the opportunity needs to be given. And so I see youth every day who aren't invested in. And so I'm passionate about investing in. And so providing those opportunities for our kids. And I just think that the cost of getting a bus together, gathering up kids, hotel nights for, I don't know, 2-3 days or whatever, is nothing compared to the fruit that we will get out of their lives when we expose them to these types of things. And so we figure it out. We make it happen. I just believe that failure is just not an option, right? When it comes to those types of things. When we talk about the investment in people, I just believe that failure is just not an option. We serve people authentically. We do it from a whole heart. And we do it because it just means something. I talked a little bit about this word called mediocrity. I did a live on mediocre. And mediocre means that your goal was always to reach a certain point, but because the mountain got a little bit hard, we set up shop in the middle of the mountain and didn't pursue the ultimate goal, which was reaching the top of that goal. Right. I think that for me, I'm a professional photographer. I've been doing it for 20 years. This is my 20th year in business. I think I'm pretty good at it. Right. But what's more impressed upon me is to make sure people have an opportunity to be great and to set up the next round of what greatness can look like in this country, right? No matter what color you are, no matter where you come from, I love people. I think I'm a pretty good photographer, but I think I'm better at people. And so that being said, man, we just want to serve folk, and we want to push people past mediocrity. We want folk to reach their greatness. I want to be the point of encouragement for folk. I want to be the one that says, rock that, you can do it. When you present your crazy idea, right? The one that sounds like, what? All right, have you lost your mind? Right? I want to be like, money, rock that. Go get it, yo. Let's do this. Right? And it's gonna be the hottest stuff on the planet.
That's right. As creatives, sometimes you gotta have that tunnel vision. You gotta close your ears, put the blinders on, and go with your gut, and just create what you feel. So that's awesome.
Focus creates blind spots.
That's right. So we got a question here. So what we got here, Shawn? Thanks for this, Shawn. What motivated you to start doing this work? Oh, great question.
I think the ultimate motivation is that I've always been discounted coming up. And so I think it's what pushes me. I've always been discounted as a person, as far as I can remember as a kid, right? I've always been talked about, and I always despised it. I've always pushed past it. Something in me caused me to not live up to people's expectation of me, but for me to live up to the expectation that I knew I could achieve. And so it's just incumbent upon me to advocate for people, right? Like I love, everybody has value. And so I just happen to be a photographer. And so the space that I think people should be valuable or see value in themselves is in the photography space that I work within, right? I'm not limited to just photography, but that's, I think, what motivated me to do the work. That if who's going to invest or seed in the next generation, who's going to provide opportunity for people. We live in this dog eat dog world where you go get yours and I'm going to get mine. And the good guy doesn't win, right? I don't believe that. I want to prove that wrong. The good guy does win, right? And you can care about people, and you can create a society where everybody is valued and valuable, right? You can be honest, you can be upfront, you can be truthful, right? And still love people. You know what I mean?
Right.
And care about people. And when y'all win, we all win, right? And if there are billionaires on this earth, there's enough for everybody. You know what I mean? So I'm not going to hoard it. I want to make sure that you win, because if you win, then we all create opportunity for each other. There will be no lack in society, right?
That's right.
If we made sure that everybody was okay, there would be no lack in society.
I agree with that 100%. And thank you for saying that. It's beautiful.
Rock that.
Just imagine a world like that. That'll be so beautiful to see that. And I hope we get there. I really do. Yeah. And the good guys do win. There's a good guy right behind me. He's a Jedi. And Jedis always win. Jedi. Right.
Rock that.
Yeah.
Rock that.
If you don't know, Shawn Lee took that photo, and it's an amazing photo, guys. So just putting it out there.
Thank you.
That's his work.
That's big sales when it comes to diversity within photography. Biggest challenge when it comes to diversity within photography is changing people's mindset. The biggest challenge is getting people to leave what they are used to, right? And what we are used to is what we look like and where we come from. And so I said this during last year's diversity meeting, and I meant this to my core. Diversity is not the absence of white people. It is the inclusion of everyone. Right. And so for a while, when we would come together, you would have all of the black folk get together, right? Or all of the Asian folk get together, and all the Mexican folk get together. And then white brothers and sisters, right, who would be like, Shawn, y'all do your thing, right? We support you, right? and then they would let black folk gather, and that became the word for diversity. But what I want people to understand is that we need everyone. We need everyone to be included and to come and to have a conversation together. That is not the exclusion of white people. It is the inclusion of everybody.
Right.
The inclusion of everyone to have authentic conversation, right? Who care about the subject of coming together. And so diversity is just that. It is multiple minds, different backgrounds coming together to have some authentic conversation and to fix some problems with an authentic, caring mind with people who just absolutely care about each other.
Mm-hmm.
Period.
It's about humanity.
Yes.
You know, don't let skin pigmentation limit your relationships with other human beings. It doesn't make any sense.
That's right. And if we come together in that spirit where it is not a right. We don't want to come together with anger. I want to come to solution driven, right? Come with, like I tell people all the time, I don't have a problem with complaint, but make sure that your complaint is also coupled with your solution. So that means that you have spent some time actually thinking about how to solve it, as opposed to just talking about what's wrong. We've done enough of talking about what's just wrong. Bring some solutions with you, right? And then let's start to talk about how we fix it so that it is good for the whole. And that takes commonality, that takes walking together, that takes thought and process, right? And care for one another. That takes asking about people's families, and what's going on with them, and understanding that maybe there is sickness in their family, or they dealing with stuff right now, or having trouble, right? And you walk with people. And when you walk with people, you can commune with folk. And when you commune with folk, you can actually problem solve with people.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And that's how you grow a strong community.
Yes.
Same time.
Yes.
And even if they shoot with Sony, forgive them. It's okay. And you're a Canon person. Just kidding. We love all cameras.
Yes. Rock that. All right. So somebody asked me, what would I recommend? That's Gerard. What would I recommend for a beginner photographer to understand and discover the photography specialty? I would say for a beginning photographer, try everything, right? You will find out very quickly what you like and what you don't like. All right. And so let me give you an example of that. When I first started out in photography, because I needed to make money, I photographed everything. I photographed your cat, your dog, the grass, the roof. I was an architectural photographer, newborn, babies, families. I photographed everything. Right. I realized right away I was not I did not like photographing children. Right. And so once you start to do everything, you can start to identify your niche or what you're passionate about, and whether that's portraiture or weddings or whatever the case may be. And then I would say from there, begin to drill down, right? Begin to drill down and figure out what your specialty is, and then go towards your specialty and go hard in the paint for that.
Great advice. And I can relate to that because I shot everything. I shot water different ways with coloring in it, blue water, green water, shutter speed, understanding how it flows.
Yeah.
So that's great. Great advice, Shawn. Thank you.
Right.
Well, everyone, you know, we can talk about this for hours. And I know that when Imaging USA comes, diversity inclusion is going to include more of this kind of content. And this is something that we're going to continue to refresh, make sure we stay on top of, because we want everyone to feel like they're just one community, especially when you become a member of PPA. So thank you so much for that, Shawn. Everybody, don't forget Imaging USA. You know the dates.
Yes.
January 25th. And we
have
it. Get it. That's right. Rock that, right?
Yes.
And we have it to December 8th to get $50 off. Take advantage of the discounts. Take advantage of booking your hotel stay. The Omni still has some rooms left. Take advantage of that. It's going to be sold out. I promise you that. So please take advantage of that. Come prepared. Come with some water. Come with some good walking shoes. Come with an open mind and open heart. And I promise you, you will walk away a better photographer than you came in there.
Absolutely. It's going to be the hottest stuff on the planet. Y'all ain't ready. Let's get it, yo.
Let's go.
Get them tickets, money. Imaging USA, Louisville, Kentucky. Let's
A
get it.
couple more days. Let's go.
Yeah, money. It won't be long. I
That's right.
appreciate you all, man. Y'all rock.
Now we appreciate you, Shawn. So thank you for doing this for us. Everyone, thank you so much for tuning in and joining us. Keep tuning in. We got more speakers lined up for you to talk to. So thank you for your time, and I'll see y'all at Imaging.